What's up YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Life of a Jobbing Plumber. Bit different this episode. We're going to talk you through some of my disaster stories that I had in my plumbing career that I've had. No doubt there'll be more. Starting from when I was an apprentice, working with my dad. God, he must have had patience of a saint. To my worst ever disaster story that I'm sure will top quite a lot of yours, and I'll leave that at the end. And I still have some form of post-traumatic stress from that incident, and it's a reason why I now press or crimp fittings instead of soldering when I don't have to. Let's rewind it back and start at the beginning.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
First one, let's start from not such a bad one, shall we? We've all done it, I hope. You're hanging a radiator on a wall. As an apprentice, I didn't realise that there was such thing as the single skinned walls. You can see what's coming, can't you? Hanging a radiator, drilling through the brackets. That's the SDS, that. SDSing through the wall. Oh, through, done. Lovely, clips it, hangs radiator on. Goes to the toilet a short time later. I'd only gone and drilled through into the bathroom, popped a tile off the back wall, just behind the bath taps, into the bath. And when I say popped tile off, it didn't pop off in one piece. Obviously, it shattered to a million pieces. So yeah, customer didn't have any replacement ones. The bathroom was quite old, so you couldn't get replacement ones. So basically ended up sticking it back together again. Sorry, Dad. Next one. Right, I had to drill out some taff holes in a bath. Now, I can't remember the size I used or whatever, but I got a core bit, put it up against the threads on the bath tap. Yeah, that looks about the same. Drilled them through. Went to drop the tap in. Oh. So the holes were right. They were actually bang on. The size of the core, should I say. But the ones in the tap that I drilled were slightly too tight together. So I pushes a bit more. No. We're about a third of the way through and it's gone really tight. I'm worried I'm going to crack the bath at this point. So what do you think I do next? What would you do next? I pull the tap back out, don't I? And as I'm pulling the tap back out, it obviously grips hold of the fiberglass, splits. A 3-inch crack across the top of the bath. Unfortunately, I have no pictures of these stories because, oh my bloody hell, we're talking like 13 years ago. I do have a picture of the last one. Well, kind of. Yeah, splits the bath. So we had to buy a new bath for the customer. I think it was about 360 quid at the time. It was quite a posh shaped P-shaped bath. They'd just come out, from what I remember. Yeah. I blamed it on the rubbish quality bath. Another simple yet stupid mistake. There's a toilet boxed up in a garage, ready to be installed. Dad says, go and get that toilet from the garage. So he goes, it's got handles on the box. So I went to pick it up and take it out of the garage. I only grabbed one side of the box handle. Ripped. Smash. I'm not lying, it didn't. This toilet didn't just like a dink crack. It smashed into a million pieces. I'd only dropped it 6-inch. What? How? How is that possible?
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I don't know what fucking happened. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I'm sure this is the one you've all been waiting for. My big disaster. Now then. So we're on a boiler. Combi swap. I've gone on my own at this time. I'm not an apprentice. I've probably been doing it. I probably had my own business, running my own business at the time, about 3 years. We're doing a combi swap. It's in a bungalow. It's right by the front door. It's actually a dream job. It's an ISAR out, a Baxi Duotech in. Gas is already 22 mil. Meters right below it. All the pipes are in the right orientation. A few spares right next to it. It's already condenser boiler. It's an ISAR. Internal condensate, so I didn't have to reroute that or upgrade it. So the job's progressing quite nicely. It's about probably 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The customer had said to me, it takes ages for the hot water to get hot in the bathroom. So on the quotation, when I was estimating the job, I went up in the attic and could see the pipe runs ran from to the other side of the house and then back again to the bathroom. There was no need for that. So my plan was to just drop a couple of speed fit lamps. This is both hot and cold. From the attic position of the boiler, below the boiler, just straight across to the bathroom. So it would have cut out probably 15 meters of wasted pipe. So I've got to put new hot and colds into the ceiling. So I've drilled 2 19mm holes from a 15mm copper. I've got 2 clips on the wall about a foot down, and I've just put up 2 stabs of copper into the roof space above. Now it's a tight roof space, it's in the eaves of the house, but I've just put 2 stabs of copper up, and they're into my clips, which are about a foot down. About 7 inches, 8 inches lower than the clips, I'm going to put 2 sockets on, and they're going to connect onto the bottom of my boiler. I put these 2 sockets on, solders them up, perfectly fine. About 10 minutes later, I've just had a brew. I said to the customer, we're going to have to go in the attic now and I'm going to have to put these runs in. So he goes, I'll open the attic door. He's an oldish guy in his 80s, lives on his own. The only saving grace of this job is he was a watcher and watched every single thing I did. There was not a point in the day he weren't stood behind me. That's important. So he goes up in the attic. He opens the attic hatch and goes, "Hey, smoky up there, Dan." I was like, "It'd be all right." I thought, maybe it's just the dust. He's just opened the attic door. I don't mean dusty up there. Starts walking up the attic steps, gets inside the attic, and I could hear this crackling noise. You know, like when something's on fire, wood, and it's spitting. And it was fucking smoky. So I immediately obviously run across the attic. Could hear and see the smoke coming out. I've no idea what it is at this point. I'm just grabbing the fiberglass insulation, chucking it into where it's on fire, and punching it in. I ended up going to hospital with bloody 3rd-degree burns on my hand at this, because obviously I was trying to. You try anything. Obviously I've not got my fire extinguisher on me. It's in the sodding van. I'm in the attic. So yeah, it wasn't going out. I didn't know why it weren't going out. I just knew it weren't going out. So I shouted to the customer, "It's on fire, ring the fire brigade." Still trying to get it out at this point. I'm having no luck, because all it's doing is drawing in air from outside, because it's in the eaves of the property. It's coming up through the fascia board, or whatever it's called, and it's feeding itself, the flames feeding itself from there. So about a few minutes later, I went downstairs. I said, did you phone the fire brigade? We're going to have to get a hose pipe and spray it. No, I thought he was joking. That's what he said to me.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down!
No, I'm not joking. So I ended up ringing the fire brigade. He gets the hose pipe, he's spraying it on the roof outside. I go and get the fire extinguisher out of the van. Next door has come out, who is a retired firefighter. Thank God. He gets his fire extinguisher, who's miles bigger than mine. We both then are attacking this fire from the inside. I don't know what's going on at this point. I can't see a goddamn thing. It's just covered in smoke. It's smoking from outside. It's on a cul-de-sac. All the neighbours are out watching. Some of them are taking fecking photos. My van's all sign written up. I'm thinking this is the end. This is the end of my short plumbing career. Fire brigade turn up. 2 engines, obviously. Because I've told them the house is on fire. They take off the slates from the outside, dampen everything down. It's the old tar felt. And what the fireman has said happened was when I'd pushed up the 2 stabs of copper, I'd pushed them against the tar felt. Obviously, when it's heated up, I don't know why, because I was nigh on 1.5 foot, 2 foot away from salt when I was soldering. But obviously, it must have been the heat of the pipe or whatever. It's melted the tar felt. It's dripped on a redundant bird's nest. Because why wouldn't there be a bird's nest there? This is why I hate telling this story, because that bit there just makes it unbelievable. Dripped on a redundant bird's nest and just set alight. Apparently, it could have been worse. And it could have been worse, actually. Had it have been a few more minutes later, 10 more minutes later, we hadn't put out the fire, and that whole tar felt had gone up, it would have been game over. It was a semi-detached bungalow, so it would have been game over for his and next door's. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be here telling this story, because after that it went. I've got so much paranoia using the blow lamp. It frightens the life out of me wherever I'm soldering. Most of the time, if I can, I'll solder out of position outside. But this is the reason why I went on to press. So all of you that slate me for using press and how ugly it is and stuff like that, until you've experienced something like I have experienced, some of you might have done, and you still slate me, I don't know, then yeah, it's a traumatic time, and it nearly ended my career. Believe it or not, I still actually work. It's 8 or 9 years on this now. I still actually work for the customer, because he was a watcher. He knew it was an accident. He'd watched everything I'd done. He couldn't believe it himself. And the damage that it caused was, obviously I melted the felt, so that needed replacing. The ridge tiles and stuff had to come off whilst the firemen got the tiles out so they could spray it from outside in. I burnt through the shower cable, the phone line and the alarm. So what I did is I pulled a few favours from friends. So a roof came and sorted out the roof for me. Electrician came and sorted out the cables, and I basically did the job for free and said you can have free boiler servicing for the entire time it's warranted. And we have done, and it's obviously, it was a Duotech, so it's expired now. But yeah, I still work for most of the cul-de-sac. I didn't work for all of them, but most of the cul-de-sac, because they all knew it was an accident. But yeah, so that is my big disaster story. Let me know yours in the comments below. If it's a long comment, it doesn't matter. I'll still get round to viewing it. And I'm hopefully going to do a live stream, and we're going to discuss other people's disaster stories, and you can talk about mine, ask me any questions if you want, blah, blah, blah. But this video has just been put out there for apprentices and other plumbers to understand that we all make mistakes. I'm not the best, but even the best of us make mistakes. Even experienced people make mistakes. And sometimes it's just shit luck and bad timing. Thanks for watching.